Hi, Gabby. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
So your business is Sharp Planning. How did
Yes.
you come up with that name?
Well, my last name is Sharp. Honestly, how I kind of getting into weddings and everything wise, and even starting the business name is just kind of because of my husband a little bit. I mean, because we got married, I'm like obsessed with my husband, just slightly, just a little bit. I mean, but yeah, and Sharp. Um,
I think it's a great name.
yeah, it's just oh my gosh, I'm like blanking my whole brain now.
No worries. No worries.
I'm not being very sharp-minded now.
That's okay. That's okay. How did you get into wedding planning? Just because of your own wedding?
Yes, well, yeah. I mean, my friends have always told me to do something in events, and it was never really like with weddings in particular, but I like putting together birthday parties, anniversary parties, just celebrations for any reason. I just like to do and get friends together and get involved in everything. That's kind of after I had my wedding, which was very untraditional, by the way, very, very untraditional. I kind of did. I just thought about it more and more. And I had some friends that were getting engaged, and I was like, I think I'm just gonna step into this and see where it goes.
That's
So
awesome.
that's totally how I thought it to become.
Good. I think that's a great origin story. What was your very first wedding like?
Oh my goodness. Well, so I became certified in January of 22, and then I took on my first wedding that March. It was good. I don't think that there was anything that went awry or went weird or anything. The gal that had hired me for planning and coordinating was more so for coordinating because she made it pretty clear to me that she is a planner herself and that, she has everything together. This is what you do and everything. So she made it actually pretty easy for me. And it was at, where was it at? It was at a golf course, Spur Wing.
Oh,
It's very nice.
yes.
So that was my first wedding experience at the Spur Wing golf course. And it was very nice. It was very, very nice. Yes.
Just throwing you right in.
It did. It really did. So I absolutely loved it. At the very end of the night, I went home. I'm like riding such a high because I just did my first wedding. The bride had texted me and said, "Hey, would you mind bringing our cake to Chandler's downtown?" And I felt in the moment like, okay, the night is done. I'm home. I took my shoes off. My feet hurt. This is my first time doing this. And she's asking me to bring her wedding cake from her house downtown to Chandler's. And so I did it. I did it. Of course I did. This was my first wedding. And I was just kind of like, oh, okay. But yeah, I mean, like, driving on the way there, coming home, I was definitely even thinking to myself, like, this was out of my realm to be doing. This was definitely a little bit too much. It was okay though. It was fine. Fast forward to just maybe, I think it was just 4 or 5 days after the wedding, she wanted to have a little recap with me at her house afterwards. And so this is, firsts. This is my first time and everything. So that's another thing that, I mean, I'm open to obviously talking about your wedding afterwards if you want to do that and everything. I am not going to go over to your house afterwards and have, you be on the pedestal, kind of like, but the thing is, again, there was nothing that was wrong at all. I think she was just very criticism. Like, I just want to like tell you what you should do better next time and this and that. And then was kind of like, is this your first wedding that you've done? And I was just kind of like, actually, yes, it is. Like, I don't know however many questions and things you had to ask me to get to that point of knowing that this was my first wedding. But at that, I made it pretty clear whenever you hired me and everything. I mean, that this was all, and for the price that she paid, it was outrageously cheap of what I did and the amount of what I did for the hours of what I did, so it's just, it was a good experience for the first experience, and it was great. It really was such a great wedding. It was a lot of fun. Nothing went wrong or anything. There was just those couple little things like, oh, can you bring me my cake at this nice restaurant downtown and stop by my house and pick it up and drive it all the way down here? And then can you also come over to my house and let me give you some criticism for the next time you do things? And it was just a little different, but there was not another wedding that was ever like that ever again. So it was just, it's just the person, just
Yeah.
different personality tastes, you know.
What did she say when you said it was your first?
So, I mean, I think she wasn't like surprised or anything. I think she understood or saw that and everything, but
Yeah.
I mean, she was just kind of like, well, I do, events with kids and sport. It was like like planning sporting events like that she had done a lot of, and she was just kind of like, well, so this is what we do with this and that, and and I'm just like, okay, well, it's just different with weddings. And so I mean, yeah, it didn't shy me away from continuing to do it. Though,
So good.
yeah, just kind of a one-off personality.
Yeah.
She's great. We're still friends on Facebook. I love her to death.
What's a wedding disaster you'll never forget but somehow pulled off?
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, so out of, I would say, well, now that I've been about 3 years in business, I've done close to 70 weddings. And out of those, only really two stand out to me. And maybe it might just even be down to just one. I mean, really, I know there's always at least a couple, right? There's
Yeah.
always something. Let me get this very clear though. It's never the couple. It
Oh.
has never been and will
Yes.
never be the bride or the groom that does anything to make anything bad ever, ever, ever. No, but this was just this last summer in July, and I think it was just kind of more of a situation where a mom was the mother of the bride was very involved in the wedding, which is beautiful. It's a blessing. That's amazing and everything. That's great. But when you hire a planner or a coordinator, they are the one that is supposed to relieve the stress of all of that and let mom just be mom that day and be present and everything. That's like, I feel like what the biggest luxury of having a planner or coordinator is just to have that peace of mind of somebody taking care of that for you. So I mean, yeah, in this situation, I mean, she was just so overbearing that it was almost to the point where, I mean, I had to talk to all the vendors about it afterwards. I was so torn up about it. It was not good on my end. The wedding went perfect. Everything was amazing. It seriously was. Like, not one thing went wrong. I was just harped on the whole time by mom, and the vendors were all seeing it. And I had to talk to all of them afterwards just to get, affirmation that, like, what did I do wrong, kind of a thing. So in that situation, I feel like it was just kind of like, maybe I shouldn't have been hired. Maybe a planner coordinator shouldn't have been involved at all when you have someone so involved in everything. And at the same time, not communicating very well. Let me think. So that day there was a moment where the cake was getting ready to be cut and there's no cutlery, there's no cake cutting stuff. So mom turns to me and is kind of like, what the fuck? What's going on? And she literally is kind of like, oh my God, okay, everybody just wait. It was just, and she was just like, what are you doing? Go find something. And I'm just like, I don't even know where to begin to look. I don't know if somebody brought anything. Nothing was told to me, like, here you go, set this up. Things are really well communicated with me throughout weddings and such. But that was a moment where she just kind of freaked out and whatever. But I mean, the bride and groom were like, it's okay. It's fine. Look, we found this to cut it with. And mom was going like berserk in a room, tearing up the place, trying to find a cake cutting set. And it was just like, oh my goodness. Another time that night, the chauffeur pulled up, I think like 10 minutes early. She wigged out. Oh my God, why is he here early and such? And it's just kind of like, they're not late. Sometimes they show up a little early. Another thing
God
too.
forbid there's traffic.
Oh goodness. Oh goodness. Yeah. The thing is, as planner coordinators too, we can't control everyone around us too. We can't control when the hair and makeup artist arrives. We can't control when the chauffeur is going to arrive. They might arrive a little early. That's okay. It's not any extra. They usually do come early. They don't want to come late,
Right.
So it's just little kind of things like that. But no, but I'll tell you to wrap it up in a bow at the very end of it all, this just kind of ties into something that I will never do again. The bride had discussed with me a couple months beforehand, and it was in my agreement. I had to rewrite my agreement, resend it over to her to sign, that I will be paid my remaining balance in cash on the day of the wedding day. I was very not cool about that and was just kind of like, I don't feel good about this. This isn't what happens. Vendors are paid before the wedding, usually always, or, it's just, then it's not secure for us that we know we're gonna.
Well, and there's too much going on the wedding day. That is the last thing that you're thinking about.
Exactly.
The
Yeah.
last thing.
No money needs to be paid on the wedding day. That's the thing too. Those things get paid at least usually 2 weeks before the wedding. It's about deadlines. So I agreed to it. I mean, I asked up and down, are you sure? Are you sure? This isn't something I usually do. So I did it anyways. And yeah, it burned me. So come the night of the wedding, I had to ask for my payment and everything. And I did not want to. And it kind of became an ordeal. Mom was just kind of like, I'll talk to you about it later. Like she wasn't gonna discuss it with me during the wedding, like that day. It wasn't good. So I left so upset that night. The next day, the mom and I talked on the phone with each other and she was pretty much just negotiating with me the whole time. It sucked. It sucked. So like, I just knew that agreeing to do something like that was going to burn me and hurt. And it did. And I learned from it, and it's something I'll never do again.
Yeah, and it makes it like so awkward. You're like, hey, pay me so I can leave. And they're like trying to enjoy the night. And it's just like, just kind of like,
Yeah,
it's just awkward.
I know. And this was the very, very end of the night too. So it wasn't, I would never want to interfere in a moment where they're having fun, they're dancing. I didn't even want to ask at all.
Yeah,
I know. Want to ask.
And you shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
Because like, again, you said those things should be paid well in advance.
Yep.
And that's just.
Yeah. So the good thing I got from that was talking to every one of the vendors that were involved and being like, am I wrong? And they're like, no, absolutely not. It seemed like a situation where they shouldn't have had a coordinator there because they had way too many helpers in the mix. I mean, mom had close to probably 20 other friends at this wedding that were involving themselves with moving things around. And I mean, so there was just a lot of miscommunication and everything. There was too much going on.
Too many cooks in the kitchen.
That's right.
Yeah. Anyways, what do couples think they want that you know is going to go sideways?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. I would say open bar, open mic. Yeah. So, I mean, open bar, and you know, everybody likes a couple drinks. Open bar though, man, you have to know your guests. Like, man, you just got to know who you're inviting. Because if you know that there's an aunt that drinks too much you should maybe keep an eye on, tell some of your events, tell your bartender so that they know and everything so that everybody can have a good time. But yeah, I mean, even if you do a hosted bar where you pay, you know, $1,000, once that $1,000 gets hit, that's it. Then it becomes a cash bar, which that is more than enough, or even $500 that you put on a bar that is so nice enough. And then people can just pay for their own drinks, or better yet, make them all pay for all their drinks, you know. But an open bar can get very dangerous and not good really quickly. And an open mic too. I mean, I like open mic. I do, but that's another thing. You got to know who your guests are, who's going to be there. And if it's a good back and forth and people are quick, you know, I say they're called toasts, not speeches, and remind people that to keep them brief. It's a quick, you know, minute long toast. Doesn't have to be a long speech. But yeah, really those couple things. Another thing too, this is just kind of total opinion, but people who have their friends as their officiants. Now, I'm not saying that that's all bad, because sometimes that usually is good too. But if the friend that's an officiant is kind of a goofball who isn't taking the role very seriously, that's whenever you kind of really need to think about who's officiating your wedding, you know, marrying the two of you. If this friend has been there throughout your guys' relationship, they're a rock in between you, and they fit the part of an officiant, that sounds like it works well. But if they're, you know, not paying attention and they're being a goofball and making things not easy for rehearsal and things like that, when we're trying to kind of be serious for the most serious moment of the day, you know, on the wedding day, then yeah, that's important too. Just something to think about.
So back on the speeches or the toast, have you had anybody like, I guess, what's your most interesting one, if you could think of one?
Oh, I mean, sometimes, okay, so honestly, if someone incorporates, which is really fun, if you incorporate like a slideshow or some kind of photos to show, if you're in a venue that allows for that and it's easy to do, that is kind of a fun little play-by-play whenever you're right there next to the couple while you're giving a speech. But not anyone in particular that's like stood out to me that was like went on long or something. I do remember a couple of them that had gone on a little long, specifically probably from mothers of either the groom or the bride that maybe had drank a little too much and they're talking for 5 minutes or more. But other than that, I mean, no, they're all pretty pretty good and lighthearted, and people keep them short and sweet. So that's good for the most part, from what I've been involved with, at least.
Good. I have heard some stories, so it's always nice when it like goes smoothly.
Yes.
I should have asked this one earlier, but what is your policy for when moms or mother of the grooms or maid of honors or people overstep?
Yes, that's a great question. So this kind of did happen at one a couple years ago. I just remember, and I remember it so well because the maid of honor, we're both standing at the welcome table, and I'm tidying one up one end, and she's got the other end, and then she kind of stops and she's just like, "So am I setting this up or are you?"
Oh my God.
So then what I said to her was, well, this is what I was hired for.
Yeah.
This was in my agreement of like, and that's a thing too, what I really stress and emphasize to couples or anybody who's hiring me is my job duties are very clearly stated in my agreement. When you sign that, it shows you everything that I'm hired for, what I'm going to be doing for you the week of, the day before, the day of the wedding. So yeah, I just kind of, that's exactly what I just did, just naturally. I mean, it felt like I was like, oh, because I was kind of taken back, but at the same time, I was like, this is what I was hired for. I was like, I was hired to set up, and help assist with this. But if you're doing it, then go ahead. I mean, and that's another thing too that I just like to encourage couples is, tell your wedding party about me. Tell your mom and dad about me. Let them know what you've hired me for and that I'm going to be there for this. If you want maid of honor to set up your entire reception space, great. That's fine. I'll be there to help if she needs me to. But if you hire me for that, but she's doing it and you don't tell, both of us, then it becomes like that, where you get someone to stop in their tracks and go, okay, who's doing this here?
Yeah.
So just a gentle reminder.
What did she say?
She was just kind of like, okay, well, I mean, that's fine. I was told to do this too, so then that's just kind of where it clicked into my head to go, okay, it's hard to tell your couples everything that they need to know. It really is, until like you're actually going through it with them. But that was something I took from that wedding that day, was I should just, let a lot of my couples know, hey, just remind your wedding party that I'm here, let your mom know if she needs anything, I'm going to be there. And this is what I'm doing that day too, so they're familiar with what I'm there for.
Not just getting like people freaking out.
I know. And I'm just kind of like, okay, maybe they don't need me no more.
I'll just sue myself out. What's something that you did at a wedding that you swore you'd never do again?
That's a good question. I swore I would never do again. Well, in certain times, I mean, I do offer to pick up rentals actually for my clients, and I'll always put in my agreement to within reason. Mm-hmm. So it has to fit in my car, and I have to be the one to unload and load it. So it can't be a lot of heavy things. It can't be a car full of things. I mean, there's a lot of like restriction things and everything that kind of go about that, but I have done that many times. Desserts, all but florals. I have gone out of my way and made it, and I have inconvenienced myself many times.
Like with the cake.
Yes, exactly. So if now, just from learning and growing, if a couple is really struggling and I don't know how we're going to pick up my one bouquet, then I'll say, okay, I can go and do that. I'm not offering every limb of myself anymore like I was my first year of business.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's healthy to have those boundaries because, I mean, you are only hired to do so much. And like even going above that just a little bit is should be super appreciated. And I know that a lot of times it's not.
Yes. Yeah. So thank you for saying that, because we are human. We are literally just human. Like that is kind of like the big secret too, is that we think about your wedding day long after it happens also. It's not just a blip and then we move on. Mm-hmm. You are our clients for life. At least you are to me. And yeah, I'm a human being just like you. And I care.
Yeah. This is kind of juicy. What's a truth you've never said out loud about the wedding industry until now?
Oh my goodness. I really thought about this one too. I did. And I don't know. I just kind of, I don't know. It's like, it's a very loaded kind of question that makes me think about a lot of things, because in the grand scheme of it, I don't even know where to begin with it. I don't know. Like, I don't even know. Like with how much things trend
Mm.
and what looks good and everything. People are just like really drawn to that. And I mean, just going back to basics and just being like, hey, this is your wedding day. Think
Mm.
about the two of you, what you guys want and what reflects you both, also. It's there's so much beautiful things online and everything that you can see, but what's really you two? I
Yeah.
mean, I know I kind of like briefly said that I had a very non-traditional wedding. I went to Vegas with my husband and we were married on 4321